nice way to kind of help people understand who you are and what you do and what it feels like, the difference
Yes.
between a group regression and an
And
individual one, and why you would choose one over the other.
yes, and what
So,
benefits there are, and what you're in for, you know,
yes,
when you do it, and what you experience, and that sort of
yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
they kind of get a better understanding of that. Yeah.
Thank you, Allison, for creating this time. I know you've been busy moving and shaking and creating things, and what do you say? Putting your money where your mouth is.
I
Right?
love that. I love that.
Walking the talk.
Walking the talk.
Right?
Yes,
So
yes,
you've already started offering group meditations, and this is what, online?
yes. Online. Next step, in person. Who knows? Yes. You
So
never
tell me
know.
about what you did online. This was what, like maybe 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I had a beautiful, heart-centered, spiritual church. Most of them up from up in the UK, and they're all up from Scotland, in the Scotland area, most of them. So it was lovely to be invited into their group, and they were so welcoming and gorgeous and beautiful souls, and really all very excited and looking forward to the group regression. And then we had I did a presentation to start off with, to explain what they can expect from the experience, and
Mm.
then we did a group regression, and then afterwards everybody shared their experiences, which was absolutely lovely and wonderful to see so many, having experiences. So yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Yeah.
Lovely. What a
Yeah.
wonderful first experience. So you can say it went without a hitch. It was smooth. It went the way you planned it.
Yes, yes. I am very thankful for that. It did. It did. It really did. Yes.
Okay. So this group, I mean, so every member was on their own device. This was remote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So completely remote. So I'm here in the
Okay.
UK, and they're all, up in Scotland, and everybody can relax and sit back, either have a lie down on a bed, or they
Okay.
can sit in their comfy sofa. Make sure their surroundings are quiet, of course,
Yeah.
and they don't have any interruptions. And then yeah, they just sit back, relax, and enjoy. It's important that I am able to see them. So I ask that everyone leaves their cameras on so that I can see their, especially the top half, so that I
Mhm.
can just monitor, if like everybody needs to be comfy and happy, and I can monitor breathing as well,
Mm.
to make sure everybody is doing wonderfully. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yes. So
yeah.
if somebody is wanting to do this with you with their own, well, either individually or in a group,
Hmm.
um, how can they kind of set this up with you? How do they get in contact with you? How do they let you know, hey, we're interested?
Yeah, so I have a website, Allison Beil, .co.uk. and on there is a contact information, and my email is info@allisonbeil.co.uk, and what we'll do is we can put details below,
That's right.
so that everybody can reach us. Yeah.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you remember from some of the feedback right after the group regression? Does anything stick out, were people surprised, perplexed? What are some of the stories that you kind of remember?
People were, some were surprised. Others had really emotional experiences, really profound spiritual experience, and others encountered in the past lives that they were able to see. They encountered some not so nice experiences. And I found, so I've been doing these, Ruba, for quite a while, and I have worked with another group, also from the north, not Scotland, but Northern England, and have done regression for their northern group and then the London group as well. And people experienced from the feedback I got, if I remember correctly, people had like really lovely experiences. And you and I both know Alba Weinman very, very well. And my first experience that I remember from having a group regression, I don't know if you can share yours. I joined one of Alba's days where she invites people to join her for a spiritual day, and she ends the day off with a lovely group regression. And I had such a wonderful experience that day for my first time that I did this, and everybody else had a lovely experience there. But I'm finding, and I don't know if you're finding this with the regression sessions that we do, and now even in the group regressions, things are stepping up, getting a bit more serious. So people are experiencing the not so nice stuff, but the reason for that is it's showing us that we need to start doing the healing. We need to start getting to the root cause of the problems, and we need to, you know, start doing that, what some call shadow work. Yeah.
I think this inner work, in whatever form it comes, it's almost like ingredients in steps for, you know, whatever is needed. The interesting thing is like when we, you know, offer these in groups, because they're not, when we work with a person individually, we're totally focused on them and guiding them through the journey. And so we kind of maneuver around the feedback that one person is giving us. When we're doing it with a group, it's slightly different, and they're almost like kind of on their own. We're in a group together, but everybody is exploring their own, you know, side of the forest, let's say. So it's a little bit different. And as you're explaining, it's almost like listening to people describe their ayahuasca journeys. You know, some are like amazing, and some are like, I'll never do this again, or it was horrific. And you wonder why. And it's where you are at that moment when you do this inner work, you know. So it's not so much the guide or maybe even the people who you're with, which do affect, but it's where you are at the present moment when you're doing this and what you're ready for. So it shifts and changes with that.
Yes, no, I absolutely hear you. And this is why when I explain it to my clients who have individual sessions or group regressions, when I explain the situation to them, I want them to manage their expectations. And I also explain it like, you know, we're sort of entering the Akashic records. And imagine the big, gorgeous library, wall-to-wall books all around. And we have what, an hour and a half maybe for a group regression, a couple of hours, 3-4 hours max for the one-to-one session. And when we go in there, we don't have time to look at all those books. And so our guides are coming along with us when we enter, and they take out the books and they go, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. And this is what you need for your highest good on that specific day. So we're not all going to experience the same thing. Everybody's different in what they experience. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And every time for that same person going in, like let's say to the Akashic records, every time is different because you're not the same person coming in. Every time it's almost like you peel away a layer.
Yes.
So when you re-enter, you're re-entering from, you know, as a different person. So you see things differently.
Yes,
right?
that's profound.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for example, us as introspective practitioners, and when we Ruba and I did a past life therapy course with Antonio Sancho, which was none of us will ever be the same after that, will we, Ruba?
I don't think we're meant to be.
No, we're not meant to be.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful to see everybody, even from the previous group, everybody is just flying. It's just too beautiful to see. But anyway, I digress. We had this incredible course with Antonio, and we had to practice with each other, and you know, because we're already, you know, had so many sessions on ourselves, because you know, we have that luxury. We're a group that, you know, can do sessions with each other, and then there's, you know, we have many clients, so you know, we already, you know, done this so many times, but this was a whole new level of going in there and doing our shadow work and doing that therapy on the past lives and healing those parts that are stuck and trapped in those situations, in those past lives. Yes,
Absolutely. And there's always work to be done. You know, as a licensed massage therapist, I see sometimes a lot of analogies that kind of cross-reference, because clients sometimes come in like, yes, with massage therapy, with body work, but also with this esoteric, you know, metaphysical inner work. A lot of people who especially like haven't really started the journey or are right at the beginning, they will come, for example, seeking a therapist. You know, one of us, it's almost like, fix this issue. I have an issue, fix it. And once I walk out of this session, it should be fixed. That means it worked. And I think that's a misconception of, like, I guess, programming of you know, how we understand things are supposed to work. That, you know, you have a headache, you take a pill, 20 minutes later, headache's gone, problem solved. But I tell clients, I try to, you know, help them understand what I understand, which is, like, for example, with body work. It's not like going to the dentist because you have a cavity and you go in, they fix the cavity. You don't go again next week to fix the same cavity. It's done. It's fixed.
Yes.
But with body work, with inner work, with that self work on multi dimensions, it's more the analogy of going to the gym, right?
Yes.
You don't go to the gym, you know, for 4 hours once a month, you know, and say, you know, like, I got my six-pack, I'm done, you know, and then forget it, because actually maybe 20 minutes a day is more beneficial than the whole day once a month. Another good analogy is, you know, cleaning the kitchen. You know, right? You can wait and clean the kitchen once a month. Very different than cleaning it once a week.
Yes.
Very different than
That will
cleaning
be
it
a
once a day.
disaster.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
and think about how, yeah, and that with I love that analogy, because think about how with the kitchen that you were saying, if you do leave that for a month, think about what that kitchen would look like at the end of that month. Can you just, you don't even want to think about it, do you?
no.
But we do, you know, people do that with themselves. And I love the gym analogy as well that you used, Ruba, because
Yes.
in Antonio's words, no pain, no gain. So
Yes, you
yes,
have to get out of your comfort zone to make those
exactly, out of
changes.
the comfort zone, and it's not always nice and comfortable to do this work, but you know,
Yeah.
if like, and again in Antonio's words, if we don't go back there and help that part of us that is still stuck in that situation, who is going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, you were still on a trajectory there, and I interrupted. I apologize.
No, there are no interruptions. You know, the road meanders. It takes us wherever we need to go. But yes, no, that kitchen analogy, definitely, because
Yeah.
I would think the person who waits for that month to start cleaning, they're not cleaning it because they're on schedule. They're cleaning it because it's so awful and smelly, and the stuff in the sink is now growing mold and moving around a bit or something, right? That you go in because it's too horrendous. I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I see that also like in massage therapy and possibly in this like metaphysical work. You know, it's like some people might go in and do this, you know, what we would call energetic hygiene regularly, like you brush your teeth every night. But some people wait until the pain is too uncomfortable. Not when they realize the pain or whatever. It's like when the pain becomes too unbearable, then we'll do something about it.
Yes.
And some of us say, no, I notice some discomfort. I'm going to look into it right now. So it's up to the person's, willingness, but also awareness, because, you know, for us on this journey, we've been doing it for years, layer after layer. We're growing into this knowing, but you know, sometimes we get reminded that there are some human brothers and sisters who are kind of still stuck where I guess we might say we used to be, if not in this lifetime, then another lifetime, where you're not even aware to be aware that you're not aware.
Yes.
You know, you just see that life is happening, you know, to you.
Yes.
And this person is bothering you, and this situation is ruining the world, and you're fretting about this, that, and the other, and just feeling helpless because, you know, who am I to be able to kind of change any of these things?
Yes.
You know, and then it just builds on top of each other. You know, it's like, so it all starts with awareness. I think that is absolutely key. You can't, if you're not aware of it, how can you change it, heal it, fix it, listen to it? You know, if I'm not aware of you, how can I be having this conversation with you? You know, you could be on this Zoom call waiting for me, and I'm, you know, I don't know, making a sandwich, and I'm not aware that you're waiting for me. How do I ever have this conversation?
Yes.
You know, so this is external awareness. There are things that if we're not aware of internally, that there's a part of you waiting in some trauma, either trauma with a capital T or trauma with a, you know, lowercase t, waiting for you to be mindful of them, to be aware that they're waiting for you, you know, because they're stuck in a moment in time, you know, and you're the future self that isn't stuck anymore. Can you come back and help me? And usually, like, if we're talking just about one lifespan, then it's usually your child, your the helpless self, the self that couldn't get in a car and leave, or punch that, you know, person who was harming them, or, you know, they didn't have the means to get out of, you know, the situation they were in. So they kind of, that whole moment kind of gets paused and maybe even bandaged a little bit, put in a jar, kept aside until you know, it's funny. It's almost like I see it. People are guided. It's almost like a clearing in the forest. You know, they're 35 right now, or 42, or whatever it is. The kids, everything kind of like maybe stabilizes a little bit, and then these things start to come up. You know, like, what's going on? And to me, I see that's the clearing. Now that you're safe, now that you have your own income, your own power, you know, you master your own life, and now from that place of strength, go back and save the parts of you that weren't able.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
so now you have even that awareness that, oh my gosh, not what's going on with me. Why am I having this, you know, anxiety, pain, whatever, physical issues? It's something is knocking on the door louder and louder, saying, hey, we've got this far, you know, and before we can move any further, you need to release, tend to these other things that are bravely still holding that moment in time. That 7-year-old you, that 2-year-old you is bravely basically holding their breath for you to come back system, and then you can move forward, because what's to come needs all these parts.
Yes. Yes. So just think about what you were saying about that future self of yours, you know, what's meant to be for you, you know, living that full life, you know, needs for you to be brave and to do that.
Here you are in your own home with your own car, your own kitchen. You can make your own cup of cocoa. You can do all that stuff, and you're having a great life. Don't forget that part of you that held it together, so you can survive that moment. So you can get to the part where you can make your own cup of coffee. So when you get there, don't forget us, basically, you know, come and bring us along. And we see this beautiful work done repeatedly in sessions when we do that, what people would call maybe soul retrieval, you know, or healing the inner child, and having that child come and walk in the home that we have. You know, here's where I keep all the naughty cookies, you know, here's where my lovely bed, and the tears that come when that child comes home. You know, beautiful moments, very necessary.
Absolutely.
And then who can do that? Like we were talking, that it starts with awareness, and this is inner work, and can do this stuff for you. You can't get it from a bottle, you know, you can't get it from swallowing a pill. You can't get it from somebody surgically implanting or removing it. Yes, there are things that help facilitate, like guides, you know, or even your own guides, kind of throw a book in your lap, or a video in you know, to bring your awareness to something. But the actual work is only done by the person themselves, because nobody can think your thoughts for you, and nobody can have these inner awareness, the inner awareness that you would have. So you have to take that journey. And it's you know, people like you, Allison, who, you know, create that space for you know, people to kind of sit back, because they can hear you kind of open that space for them, and they don't have to think of the how and why and what should I look at and where do I go next. They can just relax into the experience, because you're also being mindful of, okay, now they've reached this spot, now I know, you know, where else they need to look, so they can clean this moment in time properly. Deep cleaning, not just see it, oh, how interesting, let's pop back out. No, like, you know, we've been trained, and not just by our mentors and our teachers and our colleagues, but trained by the sessions that we continually do over the years, of really how to you know, I want to say, like, almost like play it by ear, because you can have all the training in the world, but again, it's that inner guidance, and it's being comfortable in the, you know, in the knowledge that you have and the guidance that you have, to kind of, because every client is different, and even if the same client comes again, it's almost like not the same person. You have to meet them
where they are. Yeah. But I love what you said there, because just as I explained that the client, you know, is guided by their guides, so are we, to help them navigate their session, because they're guided, but they also get to points in the session where, you know, we help them to navigate that you know, the parts, you know, so they get shown something, and then they're not quite sure what it is or what to do next, or and we help them to seamlessly just walk through the scenes and go where it is that they need to go for their highest good. And then we can facilitate that, you know, once it gets to that point where, like you said, you know, if there's a traumatic experience, then we're able to facilitate that healing to take place. It's much easier to do in the past, in a one-to-one session with the regressions, and not so easy with the group regression. However, there's still a lot that the group can experience. The group regression, I have to say, is a very good, it's very good to do it if it's something you're curious about, and if you're not sure whether you want to have a session or not. The group regression is ideal for you to have that experience, you know, and see whether, you know, this is something that you would like to do and explore further. Because in the group regression, you experience it up to a point, and then just imagine then after that, if you're hungry for more, you then will be able to have a one-to-one session when you're ready for it, and, you know, with someone you really resonate with. You know, it's important to have that someone you feel comfortable and safe with and resonate with.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, you can explore so much further, you know, after. And I don't know about you, Ruba, but I find the more you do, even if it's something on YouTube that is a past life regression, that will take you up to a point, or it's a group regression that is even, you know, a bit more explorative, if I'm using the right word there, and then you get the one-to-one session, which is, you know, the big one. But you know, the more you do them, and no matter which one it is you do, the more it's almost like a muscle that you are using, because ultimately, I mean, wouldn't you say we channel, don't we? Because we connect with our higher self, we connect with our guides, you know, we connect with our soul family. And
I think we possibly channel more than we think we do. I've even more recently kind of come to play with the understanding that your mind, so I'm still playing with that, but it's almost like the mind doesn't even create its own thoughts. It's a receiver. So playing with that, so that means every thought that comes in isn't produced by the mind. It's some part, some entity, some part of the self, or, you know, whatever we are channeling. So it's almost like it's all channeling. What would you like to tune into? You know, so it's I think it's all channeling, and the more, and like you said, it's a muscle. The more you do it, the more you. It's almost like, if we use the analogy of a radio, but this radio probably has lots of knobs and buttons and things like that. You know, and you just learn to just press the on button. And all these themes, but now, you know, because it's not a simple radio where you're just tuning that one dial to one channel. You've got several things going, because the analogy I usually use is that one radio dial. You know, if you're listening to country music and you turn it around, and that little, you know, bar kind of passes, and now you're listening to classical.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, like, let's say you get in the car and the moment you turn the engine on, here's country music. And you never even realize that there is a radio. You just know that every time you turn your car on, country music comes on. And there comes a point like, why do I always get country music? Because that person is getting in classical, that person is getting hip hop. Why am I always getting that? You know? And then it's like, oh, because that's what I'm tuned into. Here's a dial, here's a little knob, let me try. And you switch it, and all of a sudden you become aware that, you know, if this music is making me sad, I can dial it to more happy music. You know, it's not like it's sad and it's like, I can't help it, I'm so sad, because, you know, it's because you're tuning into sadness. Of course, you're going to hear sad stuff and feel sad stuff. Tune into whatever you want to tune into. And that's what you get. So now with this new piece of information, that tantalizing piece that I'm playing with, it's that actually you're channeling more than one thing. So now I'm thinking of a more complex radio, you know, that you're not listening to one channel at the same time, but you could be, you know, channeling several things. So again, but it boils down to awareness.
Yeah.
You know, awareness.
Yeah.
But I like the analogy of the group regressions being like a sampling. And as you were talking, I could see, you know, like when you walk into an ice cream shop. I mean, I know here in America, when you walk into an ice cream shop, they have these tiny little sampling spoons, and you can point to any ice cream, and they'll give you, so you don't commit, you know, to buying a whole scoop of something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So you're brave enough to try the thing with the nuts in it, even though, you know, you kind of don't like, you know, pecans, but everybody's saying this is great. So, you know, you have that little taste and you say, you know what? It goes well with my coffee. That's what I'm going to have.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Ruba, I love that you said that you're brave enough to try that new flavor. And because that's exactly what I said to the group 2 weeks ago. It just came, you know, from the heart, just saying to them, thank you for trying this, and for being brave souls for trying this, you know, and for, you know, for coming to do this work. So
yes, absolutely. And it's lovely to have these samples that you offer, and because how I see it, it's the yourself, your soul already knows the path that needs to be taken for the healing, but you're not just the soul, you're the human and its parts, and you can't bring your human kicking and screaming into its own healing.
Exactly.
Right. So you need to kind of convince your human that this is not going to hurt, or if you know, yes, we might see stuff that we've been trying to put in jars for so long, you know, we're afraid to open those jars, you know, but then it's almost like desensitization, like a person who does not like driving on the highway. Right. So, you know, but once they have a job or they have to take their kids to school, and you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of that trip has to be on that highway, eventually it becomes, oh, no big deal. I know this section, I know how to go in, how to get out, and it's desensitization. But when you give your human and the parts that are afraid that taste, that sampling, you know, and it's like, okay, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. And eventually it's almost like you start to crave more. It's like, I feel so good. And again, like these things don't have to be full-blown hour-and-a-half immersions. They can be eventually, you can, you know, train your human, train your mind. It could be the breath or 2 or 3 that you center yourself in any moment, you know, not only when you're feeling horrible and remember you need to breathe, but it could be at a traffic light. It could be as you're actually enjoying life. You know, you're cooking, the food is about ready, you're about to sit down with your family and watch Netflix and eat and all that stuff. And it's that moment of just absorbing this creation that you've created, the story of your life, you know, and then it takes that breath or 2. So all of it is inner work, including the fretting and the worrying.
Yes.
It's all inner work. So for those of us who go to bed, you know, going over what horrible stuff happened today,
Yeah.
and the stuff that I need to take care of tomorrow and the person I need to, that's also your meditation as well.
Yes.
And you choosing what you want to tune into when you wake up. I'm going to set the dial right here when I go to sleep. So when I wake up, that's the music I
Yes.
and then blame God for my life, or blame the world
Yes.
for how I
Or,
feel.
we so quick to say, oh, I must have done something so horrible, to deserve this, But yeah, we haven't tuned in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we play with these things that come to us. This idea that nothing is happening to you, it's for you. It's the
Yes.
idea that everything is an opportunity. So to remember that, like to write it on your forehead, on your mirror, on a post-it note somewhere,
Yeah.
because when we're all nice and zen and meditating, it's all like nice and warm and fuzzy. We can remember this stuff, but to have yourself, for you to remind your human of it when the bomb first hits, when the sticky moment first arises.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I mean, your human has every right to experience life, the ups and downs. We're in a world of duality, to feel that contrast, to revel in it. I mean, why does food taste so good when you're hungry? If you ate the same meal and you're already full from the food that you ate 5 minutes ago, that it's not as joyous as you've been on a hike, you haven't even had breakfast, and and here is this amazing dinner. It could be a peanut butter sandwich, but because of the contrast of being hungry and tired, and here's the relief, it makes it so much better, right? So here's this contrast in life, and then so to see the contrast also as not a punishment. What's happening in your body, what you're feeling, it's not a punishment. It's at worst it's a loving call that this is the easiest way we can get your attention. Because my partner Nick and I, we talk about this a lot, and we've been together for about 7 years now. So I'm almost like in constant meditation. I step out of this bubble to go grocery shopping, and I come back into this bubble. But years ago, we were discussing, is pain necessary?
Yes.
Is pain necessary? And like we said a few moments ago, is that discomfort is necessary, or else, like even in bed, you could sleep the whole 8 hours on one side, but it's the discomfort that makes you shift off your shoulder and off your hip, right? And you need that. If you don't, you get bed sores, for example.
Yes.
Right. So in that sense, discomfort is good for you. You're uncomfortable one way, so you go and you do something about it. Now, pain is not necessary. Suffering is definitely not necessary. Okay, so we've got discomfort, we've got pain, we've got suffering. Pain is not necessary, but we make it necessary. When we see with this work, like, for example, I'm sure you heard it from your clients, where they go into regression, they get these beautiful messages, and they come out of it and say, I already knew this. And it's like, oh, yes, you weren't waiting to book with Allison Beil and then get, the messages from your guide. The messages been coming to you all the time. They come as whispers, they come as nudges. And you kind of instead focus on the loudness of life around you, loudness of conditioning, loudness of, your heart is telling you, get out of here, go do this, change jobs, leave this person, marry this person, whatever it is. And you don't listen to it, and you choose to listen to, but if I leave this job, my mother's going to say, what are you doing? You left a secure whatever to, right? So we kind of shut the whispers, the higher vibrations, the light. We shut it down with the heavier things.
Yes.
Right? And so we make discomfort now go into pain, right? And then the more we insist, like, this pain is still, I much rather this pain than stepping into something I don't know.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
it grows and grows and grows until,
Yes.
like what they say, I was hearing an analogy more for people who have an addiction to alcohol, that any of them notice that you have to hit rock bottom. It's not bad enough. It's not bad enough. It's not, my wife left me. It's not bad enough. It's only when you got in an accident that killed your child because you were drunk.
Yes.
That now you want to take care of this, addiction problem.
Yeah.
But did it have to be at the death of your child? No, you could have done it when your wife was saying, you know what, this marriage is a little bit too much because you're not even helping yourself. Right? You could have stopped there and saved the marriage, right? Yeah. So was it, your wife leaving you? It's her, it's her being bad to you and not being patient with you, or is it a sign? So you can either point and blame, which say that's you giving your power away. She couldn't handle it. I'm going through something. Alcohol is, my best friend right now. She can't even hold that space for me. Her problem, she left me, and now my family, and it's blaming everything else. Yes. Okay, so you didn't listen to this message. Now we have to step it up a bit.
Yes.
Right? Because your soul on the other side, this is like a movie, like a dream. It doesn't matter if your arm gets cut off or your house, catches on fire. It doesn't matter. You're going to wake up from the dream. What's important is what you get from it.
Yes.
So everything else is fair game.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I like what you were saying there, because people, like, a part of the reason why they have sessions is they want confirmation of something. So, should I leave that husband? But there's already an inner knowing, but there's also conflict there. And yes, there's suffering there in that relationship. And, the session isn't always going to give them that answer. And often when we get to that place where we ask the questions, the guides will just say, they already know. They already know the answer. Or like you say,
they had $1 for every time the higher self or the guides come and say, she already knows.
She already knows.
We've told her.
We've already told her. So that they have that inner knowing already, that they know what to do. But but it is in our human nature, I think. Just, for me, my story is also, hitting that rock bottom and a lot of suffering before. And it's like, why do we do that to ourselves? Because there's no need for that, is there? I love what you just said, because there is no need for that suffering.
But you don't know that there's no need for it.
We don't know that.
Because you're not aware of it. This awareness seems to be like that important key that you have to kind of like hang around your neck, so it's always with you, that awareness. When things happen, to become aware, not to get lost in the emotions or the illusion of it. But you feel that key around you and you remember, awareness, and it really kind of changes how you're human. It changes how you kind of move along as you're human. I use this word, and I've been using it for years, and I think it must have come with conversations just with me and Nick, but it's and really just that statement has changed life for me, is that you're not your human. You're not your, remember that you are not your human. You're not its thoughts. You're not its feelings. You're not its emotions. Okay. So what use is knowing this, that you're not your human? So what? So what is that you don't get lost in your human when it's feeling anxious, when it's feeling upset, when it's crying, when it's feeling like it's dying on the inside. And all of a sudden you get reminded, I'm not my human. And it gives you that space. You can almost like hover above your human or next to your human, and you can see her now on the bed, feeling all just melancholy. Feeling and then you start to say, well, you know, how long has she been like this? Oh, it's been 3 days. Well, why is she feeling like so mopey? You know, because now you're not in the emotions. I feel so bad. I hate this. What a crappy day. You know, you're not there because you're watching your human now. Right. And it's from that space that you can now guide your human, should you choose, because again, you have every right as a soul coming to have a human experience. Like, what happened? Oh, I don't know, the coupons expired. Now she can't use them. And now she's been moping for 3 days. Like, yeah, let's get her out of it. Or what happened? Her dog died. You know, is it appropriate for her to still be moping around? Yes, it is. You know, how should we make it better? Should we tone it down? Should we, you know, go visit a friend? So you do it appropriately. You don't get lost in the story, in the dream, but it's almost like you wake up in the dream and can maneuver it better for your human.
Yes, I like that.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yes. Now, as much as we like this, can you use it when you need it most? That's a whole another level of humaning right there.
Yes. So when I have that exact thing, you know, that I teach my clients, you know, Ruba, when, you know, that situation hits, you know, we need to calm and take breaths, you know, in through the nose. Start by doing that, you know, in through the nose, hold it in for 3 seconds, out through the mouth, and then start saying, I am okay. I'm safe. Right now, in this moment, I'm safe. I'm okay. And then, you know, you start asking, you know, the right questions instead of why me, you know, what am I learning from this experience, you know, and reminding yourself as well that, you know, everything is happening for your highest good. So whatever is happening is for your highest good. Like you said earlier, Ruba, everything happens for us, not
you.
To us.
Yes. There is many times I get shown this analogy. It's like, I'm sorry, but it's like a pile of poop and in it is a pearl. And all we can do is focus on how nasty this poop is and how did it come to be here and who put it there and why does it keep coming? You know, where stop wasting your energy and your questions and your, you know, these detective skills on where the poop came from and why. It's like, look for the pearl already. Because when you get that, when you again, because everything has that opportunity in it, you know, and like we need to give examples because we think it's like, where's the lesson in this? Sometimes it comes. Nick had a client a few years ago, a young man. His mother had died 2 weeks ago, and the question out of Nick's mouth is, what opportunity does this hold for you? Now, this is a question you can't utter in public because it sounds, what's wrong with this? You know, how can you ask such a question? His mother just died. You know, how can you say what opportunity is in there? But the right souls that, like the humans that have evolved to a certain, you know, again, you meet your client where they are. Everything happens for a reason. It's already been you know, planned out on a soul level. You think the mom's soul didn't, you know that this is where she's going to exit? You know, it's on a soul level. We knew we have exit points. We get to choose. I've had enough, or I'm done, or whatever. And sometimes that situation of your mother dying while you're at this age or this stage in life has something to do with your evolution as well. It's for you. And well, Ruba, prove it. I'll tell you that there's so many stories Allison, of these great people that we know their names today.
Yes.
Because, and I want to say, again, you looked at their childhoods and they are horrendous. Like if they, if they were under a bridge, you know, sloshed on drugs, you'll say, you know what, they can do it because of what happened to them. It's absolutely understandable. The abuse, the suffering, the whatever, as children, they have every right to be like totally. But here they are, they're authors, they have PhD, or they're just have shifted, you know, trajectory for so many human beings. And you go see, like Dr. Wayne Dyer, you know, his father left his mother and, you know, him and his brother when they were young. They ended up, the boys ended up in foster care. You know, by the time Wayne Dyer is ready to move to the other side, he has a house in Maui. You know, everybody knows his name. His books are translated in so many languages. Right? But you can also take that same story and say, because my father left us, because I was in foster care, that's why I amounted to nothing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Ruba, I absolutely love that. And I had a prime example of that this week. Sinead O'Connor. She is the Irish singer that passed away recently. Horrific childhood abuse. But a prime example of, and I was watching a documentary about her this week, and I for some reason, you know, the media and the mainstream always make this big deal, and you know, when when celebrities die, and of course it's heart sore, and your heart goes out to the family and friends and all that. But there's now and again there's one that really hit you, and this one hit me. I was really sad when I heard that she passed away. She sang that song, that Nothing Compares to You. And this that documentary that I watched showed, you know, she was very open to talk about her childhood and what had happened and her life, and she was very brave for her time as a woman in the 90s. It's difficult now to look back at what it was like in the 90s. You know, I watching the documentary was just so like, yeah, I forgot that was what it was like. You know, for just for women, you know, this is pre-Me Too movement. This is, you know, and we'd already come a long way, but even then, you know, it was still, you know, she refused to let you know, the music industry turn her into their sex idol, you know, and that's why she shaved her head. And she pioneered for good causes, you know, and she would put her foot down and not have a concert on principle. And then she went on Saturday Night Live and sang, and then she tore up a picture of the Pope. And she was so unpopular after that, and you know, everybody was just having a go at her. She didn't care. She stood her ground. And it is just, to me, an example of a soul that had a plan. And she must have been, you know how we say, you know, we plan our own life, but also as a collective, for the collective, calls go out.
Mhm.
for people to come and do specific tasks for humanity as a whole, for our collective to grow. And she's one of those. I can, you look at her life and you just know she did that, and she was a,
Yes.
you know, she did just break the chains, break through, you know. And if it
Yes.
wasn't for that childhood, like you just said earlier,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know, she would never have done any of those things,
Things
and it
like
made
what?
her,
What do you remember of her childhood?
her mother, very hard soul, abuse from her mother,
Mm.
and never having had that nurturing from a mother,
Mm.
and then being taken into care and going into, you know, into care. And I think one of the things she mentioned was her mum would lock her out at night. Little girl scared, locked her out in the garden at night, just, you know, in the dark, alone, you know, just a little girl. I mean, I'm getting shivers as I'm talking
Yeah.
about that, and you
Yeah.
can't even
Yeah.
begin to imagine that.
Mm.
So to me, that's another example, you know, of a soul that came with a purpose. And yeah, do you think if she didn't have that suffering initially, that made her strong to
Exactly.
accomplish
Exactly.
those things that she needed to do, you know?
Yeah,
That,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we know from the work that we do that before we
yeah,
come here,
mm,
these like every detail is already planned out. You know, whether those details get played out the way exactly they're planned out, you know, that is iffy because of free will.
yes,
You know, of you know, whether you decide to cut yourself and die, you know, because your mother locked you out, or you
yeah,
persevere and keep going, you know.
yeah,
So there are always all these different forks in the road due
yeah,
to free will, but
mm,
that these things are definitely planned out very
mm,
carefully by the soul and the guides, and all the players that would be a part of it. You know, like we know,
yes,
for example, the mother who will say, "Oh, what a terrible mother she is." On a soul level,
yes,
you know, volunteer that I'll be the one who locks you out and betrays your trust.
yes.
And
Exactly, exactly. It's
yeah,
mind blowing to think about that, you
it
know,
is. It,
and a lot of people will see it as perhaps we're, I often feel, you know, some people will see it as we're, we're belittling someone's suffering. But
mm,
that's the last thing we're doing. We're just explaining why we had to go through that, and that we actually, you know, planned that for ourselves.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you do some reframing, you will realize why you had to go through what you went through.
yes, yes.
And yeah,
And
you
to
know,
me, those souls are the strongest souls. The ones who come
mm,
in and hit the ground running,
oh my
you
goodness,
know,
yes,
those I'm like,
Ruba,
yes, those are the like, again, some of us that we grow up with beautiful parents who, if they make mistakes, you know, like honest mistakes, you
mm,
know, but everything is, you know, easy. And even then life is hard,
yes,
you know, even when things are good, your parents didn't abuse you, you know, just whatever, you know, but then you know, you're eating your ice cream as a kid and it falls onto the floor, that could be your trauma.
yeah,
You know? So even
yeah,
if life is good, I'm watching this The Crown on Netflix, you know, this
yeah,
documentary, you know, on the you know, the royal family and things.
mhm,
And you'd think, you know,
mhm,
naively that, you know, they've got everything, they're sitting on top of the world, how dare they be miserable?
yes,
But when you look at them as individuals, you know what, the queen as a soul, as a person, as a human, as a character on this stage has to play that role and stay in that role.
yeah,
Watch her children need things and not be able to provide. You wouldn't think a queen won't
yes,
be able to provide, but you know, it's,
yes,
if I'm all soft and mushy with everybody, how can I be that sovereign queen? You know, that holds the
yes,
church and holds the you know, monarchy. right? And
Yeah.
you've got Charles, who, you know, feels like he's he's so important yet so insignificant, just waiting
Yes.
his mother to die,
Yes.
basically, you know, for him to start playing his role.
Yeah.
It's like, so nobody is free from the story, the movie, the drama. Nobody's free from it,
None of
you
us.
know.
Yeah.
And again, some people who might think, well, I don't have any trauma. From how I understand it, just being born is a trauma.
Oh my goodness. Yes. From the work that we've done, um, you know, we can attest to that part. The birthing part is very,
Yes,
very important part.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So,
Even the,
so
yeah, even pre-birth can be
absolutely.
traumatic, you know.
Yes, you know, you come and we think life starts when you take that first breath, but
Mm,
for you
yeah.
as a soul in the like having this human life, like for example, as Ruba,
Mm,
I didn't start because, you know, living Ruba's life when I was born. It was
mm,
in the womb that it
mm,
started, you know. And again, from the work, you know, from our work with Antonio,
mm,
it's you are. It's almost like you don't have your own energetic layers. They're still forming. So you are
mm.
in your energetic layer. You're like,
Yeah.
you know how also like we work with parts, you know, so like the liver can have a voice and say, hey, I'm sick because such and such is stored in me, such and such trauma or thought form. As a fetus, as you know, you're part of that human body within her energies. So if she
Yes.
feels sad, if she feels reluctant, if she feels unloved, if she feels the world is unsafe, if she feels excited that you are in that vibration, just like the liver and the kidneys and the heart are,
Yes.
and you are part of that body. So it's interesting how we see these, they separate from that, but they
Mm,
get born and becomes almost like the liver becomes a person on its own, but now it carries all the memories and thoughts and feelings from the original host body that you came through, the portal that you came through. And to
yes.
be aware that, okay, which part of these are meant to be on your journey to deal with, or what need to, like, hey, those are not my energies at all. Here, mom, I love you. I'll
Yeah.
give you, I give you those,
I give
you
you
know,
those back.
challenges. Yeah, those back to you. Thank you for letting me taste them.
Mm,
You know, but they're not mine. And this
mm.
that brings me to the point of like, how do you know if a heaviness is yours or not? Right?
Yes.
Because sometimes even like physically, the ailments come from things that don't belong to you,
Yes.
or you know, your mood, the mood that you're in, or the
Yes.
way you're feeling. And it's like, you know, like before you even tend to it, ask, like, is it even mine? Like, why am I
Yes.
suddenly angry? Where did that come from? Is it even mine? Then, you know,
Mm.
you plug into, or I don't listen to news, but, you know, clients can bring me the news and you find out that, well, something horrific has happened. People are livid, you know, so maybe you're picking some of that up.
Yes.
Yeah. So again,
Yeah.
awareness. It all boils down to that
Was
awareness.
down to awareness. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My goodness. So, Ruba, tell me a little bit more about your. So you don't only do the hypnosis and the past life stuff. You also do massage therapy, don't you?
Yes, I think the gateway into all this work was massage therapy. For a lot of
Ah,
people, it is, you know,
okay.
being a mother of five, building my nest, being so much into like just taking care of that, and then life kind of poking you in a direction to where you need to find an outlet. Um, a way to stand on your own 2 feet, and out of the blue, out of really nowhere, you know,
Mm,
because I double majored at Smith with psychology and education, but then I had 5 kids, you know, so that's almost like as good as it like never happening. So it's like, long story short, I find myself, you know, in massage therapy school. Um, And I thought that was the answer to my prayer. Once I start working with clients and just, I said, oh, this was the answer. And only to realize that, no, dear, this is the beginning. And think of meditation, like whether I'm doing an hour and a half, 2 hours, that, massage therapy is a meditation. You're sitting quietly in a room, silent, usually in other people's energies, and you can feel in that silence, session after session, hundreds of hours later, you're not only touching people's bodies physically, but you're in their energetic field, and they can be absolutely quiet. They can be asleep. Like I remember one time, very early on, I was still in the intern clinic, and it's almost like the body was talking to me. It was a young woman, and the body was angry because she had gone last night, drank, stayed up late, all that stuff, and I didn't know what to do with that information back then, like, why am I getting all this? I don't even know this woman, but I got this anger from I don't know if she stayed up last night and had a party or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's so you start to pick up these things.
Yeah.
And then synchronicity, I got to hear about Dolores Cannon. And from there took quantum healing hypnosis.
Yeah.
And again,
so you did the QHHD, did you?
Yes. Shortly after Alba and Antonio did,
really?
I was a few steps behind them, and and did that. And it's been a journey to also learn these things, but also let go of them. Because we want to hold on to a plan, we want to hold on to a script, we want to hold on to whatever, which is great as training wheels until your human becomes confident. But then it's the years of work and client after client, also your teachers, and then to be trusting enough of your own guidance to lead you down that path to do what you. So when somebody comes to Allison, it's like Allison is a portal all on her own. Yes, she studied with Antonio. Yes, she whatever. But, you kind of mentioned it before about as a therapist, you holding space and having those intentions. I remember in one of the classes with, the Dolores Cannon material, I think it was a class with her daughter. And one of the people in class kind of said, well, why is it that, I can have, like people can go have a session, a quantum healing hypnosis session with this person and go have it with this person, and they're totally different. And the energies that work with you, I mean, I don't know, like whatever wording you want to use, but the energies that are working with you, they don't care what you're dressed like and what your name is and what makeup you have on, they feel you vibrationally. If you're in it for the money, if you're in it for the need to be needed or praise, if you're in it to, or if you're worried, but if your intentions are right and you're here really so those energies, like let's say of the clients, the guides, they can also come through you because of your purity, let's say. Because of the frequency that you hold for that person. So that's why it's important, as a therapist, I don't know, because like if somebody wants to haggle, and usually it comes with massage therapy, some people like to haggle, can you do it for less, or can you whatever, right? And I'm thinking, I live every day consciously to be the best version of myself. So when I touch you, you get everything you're ready for on a multidimensional level. Do you want to haggle that? Go ahead. I'll give it to you for free. Donate if you want to haggle. If you can't see, I mean, honestly, it's what I eat, when I sleep. Being consciously aware of what you watch, what you listen to, who you befriend, who you let go. So you can always be at that best frequency that you can hold at that time.
Yeah.
When you're with somebody else, I'm dedicated my whole life to somebody I might not meet. For the chance of when they book and have a session, I'm ready.
Yes.
You know, it's a
Yes.
responsibility.
It is. It is. Down to, you know, drinking a lot of water, you know, so that they can, you know, because we know when we drink a lot of water, that it enables the guides to make it easier for them to connect.
Absolutely, absolutely. You become more conductive. You just like, I mean, it's science, you know. So yeah, it's everything we learn. I don't know, like my whole life is this. It's you know, but because I feel it's important work. It's important work, you know, to usher this planet to be part of its movement into what they call, you know, 5D. You know, it's we feel that. We feel that. You know, our tribe, we feel it, and even beyond our tribe, I see it in people who aren't even aware of it. Their soul on a soul level comes in. There are no accidents. You know, the people who find me, there are massage therapists. You can throw a stone in any direction, and there's a massage therapist. You know where I am. So when somebody shows up, you know, at my clinic and on my table, it's like, when their name comes onto the schedule, you know, my ears kind of perk up, like, I wonder what this is about.
Yes.
You know, I wonder what this is about, you know, and sometimes it doesn't have to even include any words, because touch, like you said, cells talk to cells. And it could be that nudge that their soul needs at this time, at this crossroads, you know. So you being on a bus or on a plane or walk into a store and you don't even interact with anybody, but your beingness on this planet at this time, at that location, you know, like a beacon of light. You know, you've heard me say this, you know, it's like lighthouses, you know, and all you have to, your job, more than becoming, you know, a practitioner of this, that, or the other, your job as a human being, and this is not just for practitioners, healers, whatever you consider yourself to be, as a human being, how I see it, your job, if you wanted to have one or become aware of the one, is to become the best version of yourself at any given moment.
Yes.
If you are going through a funeral or sadness or loss or sick, whatever, how can you be the best version of yourself in this?
Yes.
Like Nick says, if you're here to suffer, then suffer beautifully.
I love that.
You know, just do it well. Do it well. You know?
Yeah. Very good. So coming back to you, Ruba, so you are in Texas.
Yes, the Dallas area, McKinney to be specific.
Okay, fantastic.
I've been branching out.
Branching out now.
I've been branching out. I've been, again, following my guidance. They told me maybe over a year ago, get your passport, renew your passport, Ruba. There's going to be some travel here. And you know, Ruba, who likes to stay in her like 5-minute radius of driving bubble, all of a sudden, you know, every month I go to Florida. Every month now I've added North Carolina, the Durham area. So, you know, it's like Ruba is ready. And again, you know, because life has put me, after intensely taking care of husbands and children and home and cats and plants and, you know, home, you know, now I'm here where I home can be anywhere, you know, home can be anywhere, and like to get comfortable wherever I am. So like the end of this month, we're in August, I'm going to be in San Diego, and you know, visit some of our soul family there, our tribe.
Fantastic.
Victoria Mendoza is going to be there. Yeah. So some opening the horizons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, if the passport had to be renewed, you never know. You know,
yes, I know. So again, my ears perk up. Like, what are we doing?
You might be coming over to Europe. You never know.
Yeah, I know. There's something brewing in Egypt. you know, with
Oh,
right?
yes,
Something
yes.
always brewing in Egypt, you know.
Yes, well, a lot of people feel that pull.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes. There is that. So yeah, I'm open to it. Not that I have any plans or any even like pull towards anything. It's not like I have this intuition to it. It's just like I kept hearing it and it was getting like more frequent. Renew your passport, renew your passport until I'm okay, I'll renew my passport and got it done.
Oh,
You know, just
interesting.
yeah, something's gonna happen, some opportunity or whatever, some need. And
Mm,
so, you know, the logistics of life and being human doesn't get in the way. You know,
yeah,
yes, you can hop on a plane and get things done. So
yeah.
that's kind of exciting.
Very exciting. Awesome. Very. Ah, Ruba, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Allison, Allison.